that Susanna got out of Nigel Farage on Friday morning, and which has now been addressed by Ian Duncan Smith, that one of the central planks of the Leave campaign, that the EU money would go to the NHS, is clearly complete hokum. It's not going to happen.
Well, let's be clear. First of all, Nigel Farage isn't part of the government, is not going to be part of the government. And when we leave the European Union in 2 or 3 years' time, we will indeed be able to spend the money we currently contribute to the European Union on other priorities like the NHS, as we've been clear throughout the campaign.
But I interrupt them because you said you've been clear about this. The Vote Leave leaflet and the Vote Leave poster say, let's give our NHS the 350 million the EU takes every week. Are you going to give the NHS the 350 million if we give 350 million to the EU every week? Is that going to the NHS?
Well, the specific proposal put forward by the Vote Leave campaign was in fact to spend £100 million a week of that on the NHS. I hope that aspiration will be met when we leave.
Leaflet and poster say, let's give the NHS the 350 million.
But we are now beyond that. We are the government. We'll do the right thing for the country. And yes, it is my view, and that of my colleagues, that when we take the contribution back from the European Union, when we formally leave, that part of that money, as we always said we believed, should be spent on the National Health Service. Very clear about that. But
why
it is a
didn't
matter
the poster and the leaflet say part of that money could be spent on the NHS?
Well, actually, there was a very specific announcement about that from the Vote Leave campaign about a month ago.
Okay, you said before the vote, we've never said every penny should go on the NHS. So do you agree with Nigel Farage that saying let's give our NHS the 350 million the EU takes every week was a mistake?
Well, we were very clear during the campaign, firstly, that decisions, actual policy decisions, are for governments, not for campaign teams. But we said, as ministers campaigning to leave, that we wanted to see that money spent on our priorities, including the National Health Service. And we said very specifically that we thought that our £100 million a week of that, £5 billion a year, would be freed up to spend on the National Health Service once we've left. But we've got to get to that point first.
You agree the wording, let's give our NHS the 350 million the EU takes every week, was a mistake?
I've been very clear in saying that we set out a plan during the course of the campaign to spend that money on our priorities, including £100 million a week on the National Health Service, and including cutting the amount of money that is spent on fuel bills by removing VAT from fuel, something else we can take back control of when we leave the European Union.
Okay.
But right now, the priority is to do it in a careful way that is right for Britain.
Okay, Chris Grayling, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
You're welcome.
Well, that's as clear as mud, isn't it? I think we've established that. Coming up, house prices.